Hello there YouTube fans, and welcome to my channel. Thanks for watching my video today. I'll be bringing through an ancestor or deceased loved one for you. As the title said, I have already pulled some cards here today to help tell the story. But before I get started, I hope that you will enjoy this content. If you do, please hit that like button or subscribe. For every time that you do that or make a comment, YouTube says, hey, this content must be interesting. Let's show it to some more people, which helps this message get to a broader audience, which means it might reach the family it's meant for. So thank you for all of you who do that. I've been overwhelmed by your response. I'm so grateful. And I am just getting started here on YouTube, so it helps build my channel as well. But mostly for me, this is about getting the message to the families that it needs to reach. So, all right, enough of that. So today, and I've already pulled the cards, so you're just going to have to look at my hands and listen to my voice here for just a minute, and then I will start talking about the cards here for you. So today, I'm bringing through a gentleman who is showing me his uniform. He worked in, do you know those, well, I think they're called coveralls. I believe they're called coveralls. It's like a one-piece kind of jumpsuit thing where they have to step into it and then pull it up over their shoulders. And I think people like mechanics wear it. I think maybe I've seen some garbage collectors wear it. It's to protect your clothes underneath when you have like a messy job, is my understanding. Anyway. So he's showing me himself in that, so that was what he wore to work. And he's showing me a graveyard. And he's telling me that he was, in fact, because I questioned this when it first came through, I thought maybe my imagination was running away from me, but no, he says, I actually was a grave digger. Is what it is, right? So this gentleman was also mentally challenged. He was functional and obviously, as I said, had a job, but he was mentally challenged. And there's more messages here that I will bring in just a minute. But the message that this is meant for today is the gentleman that he's showing me was his boss. He thought of him more like a brother or a very, very good friend. In fact, it could have been his brother. And now that I'm feeling that energy, and you as the brother would be the living person still here, you might have been helping him out by giving him a job. And so that certainly could be the situation. But whoever this person is here, the living person, this gentleman felt he was very, very grateful to you, but he also, as I said, he felt in his heart like you were his brother, whether that was literal or not. And this gentleman that I'm bringing through he was a very good employee, very easy, no drama, no nothing. He just came to work, he did his job, and he went home. And so you, the living, were also grateful to have him because he was a very good, and I'm going to say simple person, but I mean that as a compliment. I don't, because too many of us in this world are complicated. We don't need more complicated people. So when I say simple, I mean he didn't create any drama. He never gave you, the viewer here, a hard time about anything. He was happy to do his job. And in fact, he's also showing me, just a second here, let me get the full picture. He's actually saying he liked his job. He liked what he did. He said, it wasn't creepy like you would think at all. In fact, they're showing me that, his guides are showing me a little bit more expanded message here. He's saying that on some level he knew and respected was very, in fact, very, they're being emphatic, very respectful of those people whom he was digging the grave for. He was respectful of the process and of even though, let me qualify this, even though he probably never met the families of the people whose whose grave he was digging. He certainly never met the people that were going to be put in the grave he was digging. He never met any of those people. He would just, how if you've been to a funeral, you show up and it's already prepared. The hole is already prepared and dug. And so he never knew or met any of those people. But yet in his heart, he had this beautiful respect for, it was like, he's saying it's almost like a spiritual experience to him that he got to dig the grave. It was, the word he's given me is an honor. It was an honor to dig the hole that was the last resting place for the souls that went into this cemetery. So I think that's just a beautiful message. I'm getting emotional. That's so sweet. But back to the gentleman here that's living, and that was his employer. I think, and again, this is feeling familial to me, so I don't know if if you perhaps felt the same way about him, like you were his protector. I think you felt that way. I don't know, again, if you were literally his brother, or maybe he was a relative, or just someone you took under your wing. But whatever the case, you were his protector. That's just the word that keeps coming. You looked out for him as best you could, and I think you did it very well. In fact, I think he's acknowledging that. And even though this gentleman I'm speaking of that's passed over, even though he could not love in the way that most people think of that, like being in love, or love like, I don't know, most people who are not mentally challenged would love. I don't know what that is, but I mean, I wouldn't know how to define that. I'm just trying to be humble here. I don't know how to put that into words. But what he's saying is, but he loved in his own way. He loved just as deeply as anyone else would, and he's making that clear. That he knew how to love. It was maybe different than we might, but he knew about love. He knew there was something inside of him. That's all he keeps saying, is he knew what love was. So back to the living person, the gentleman that's living, that this is meant for. I think that you felt there were times where you couldn't do enough, or you didn't do enough. And then when he passed, I think that frankly, you missed him. We all do that. We all look back and wish we'd done things, wish we'd said things that we didn't. And he's being very adamant, the gentleman that's passed over, is telling you, do not feel that way. Do not. He said you were as honoring and as caring for him as anyone could have been. And that's the way he saw you. So don't ever second guess your relationship with him in that way. That in fact, you were the reason he was able to be independent and take care of himself, because of this job that you gave him. And he was very, very grateful. In fact, he just feeling this overwhelming sense of gratitude that he's bringing through. I'm getting quite emotional. Sorry. It's just so sweet. That he's showing me. You just have no idea how grateful he was. And he doesn't want you to think back and regret anything, because it's not at all how he considered the relationship with you or any part of his life. He's making that very clear. He looks back at his life and was happy. He was grateful and happy, and just, again, that overwhelming sense of this beautiful gratitude for what he had. Just a second. Let me take a breath on that. That's a good cry, though, not a bad cry, like so many of these can be for me. yeah, he's just bringing through the happy, and there's a secondary message here that I need to give you. He had such a beautiful, big spirit, big soul. Yes, here, but on the other side too, because the bigger part of us lives in the non-physical. And so now when they reemerge into the non-physical, they don't have the same limitations, and in this case, the same mental disability. Once you reemerge into the non-physical, you're back to the wholeness of who you are. And so he's telling me he's stepping back from the 3D person that he was showing me this picture of, and now he's stepping back into the soul, the 5D, whatever realm that is, of who he is. And he's telling me a little bit broader story. He's saying that in a previous lifetime that you were together, you and this living gentleman were together with each other, and the roles were reversed. He's saying that you, the living person, was the mentally challenged one, and he was the person who would have been in your role. And he's saying he mistreated you. He treated you badly, in fact, very badly, and you did not have a good life. And so he's now fast forwarding back to this lifetime and saying, but that the scale has balanced out now because of this recent lifetime where you gave back to him, and he was, in other words, that's karma, folks. That is karma. Everything, and he's just showing me full circle. Everything has come full circle now, and he felt like he was honored that he got to pay that karma back, and that both of you that you got to pay the karma. You know what I'm saying? It all balanced out in the end, and that's the beauty of how our world is set up, I think. Whew, okay. Anything else, Spirit? Yeah, he's just, this is, oh wait, he's telling me something else. 1 second here. Typically the swords for me, oftentimes the Knight of Swords or the Page of Swords, are just, they're confirming their message that's coming through here. That's kind of a message for me more than anything. But he's giving me a little bit more here with this other message. He's saying you have two messages here. You have walked away now from this karmic debt. That's what he's telling me. Your debt is paid. You've walked away from this karmic debt. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Yeah. And both he and you, in essence, can now have a new perspective to move forward in your respective lives. Yes, and that's the truth of it. That's the truth of it. And he's giving me this, the heart. He's saying, and I love you for that. It's like, we have a lot of soul contracts that we agree to before we come into this physical world, and he's acknowledging that you two had that soul contract with each other, and he's giving his appreciation and love for you doing that, and to not give any of this a second thought, because he's very happy. Yeah, he's very happy and living in a better life and in the fullness of who he is, where he is, wherever that is. And yeah, in fact, I think he's got already a new beginning. Yes, awesome. Yeah, and this, but yeah, I could just keep going, but I won't. But so that is the message for today. And let me see if it's anything else. Thank you. All right. Okay, thank you. He's telling me to say hello to, it's a young woman in your life. I don't know who that is. He's not, I don't do names, don't even try to do names very often, but there was a young woman. I don't know if this was your daughter or, I'm just not sure what the connection was, but somehow he knew her and befriended her, or she befriended him, and he's saying for you to tell her hello. Someone that you know that would be I think it was younger than him and younger than you. I think you were older than he was, and he is older than this young woman, so if that helps. Just saying, please tell her hello. Okay, that's it, folks. Thank you again. I appreciate you watching again, and if you would be so kind as to hit that like button and subscribe, I will be very, very grateful. And I will see you again soon in another video. Thanks, and I wish you all many, many blessings. Bye-bye.